Hello there and welcome to another one. My name is Tatenda. It's game on, baby. In a short space of time, you're gonna get an interview that I just did with Geoffrey Toyana, who is the head coach of Easterns, currently the former head coach of Lions cricket, and also the former assistant coach of Titans cricket. Such a big name, a wonderful man who showed his insights, who shared with us these insights of his coaching career, his playing career, and his family in between. And I know for sure you're going to enjoy this because I enjoyed it. Again, before we head on to that Zoom recording, remember, if you want to sponsor the channel, the banner down below is for you to advertise your company, and Best Mini Removals is there to help you move. So if you're moving offices or houses, Best Mini Removals is there for you. Head on down, all the information is down under, and I don't want to waste any time. Let's head on there and enjoy the interview. I'll see you guys. Ciao.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people.
Okay, Coach, how's it going?
Yeah, man, all good, and you?
Oh, good. Thank you. It's been a long time coming. Finally, it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, you're catching me as well on the day I've come to Pinoni to watch the Colts game.
I see.
Like the Colts are playing against the Northern Colts, yeah.
Awesome.
So cricket all day.
That's why they say you can never run away from cricket.
No, you can never. Yeah, but nice chatting to you.
Awesome stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for joining the Game On podcast. And in a nutshell, the Game On podcast seeks to spark up conversations with custodians and servants of the game. And you are one of those custodians and servants of the game. So thank you so much for taking your time. And whatever that is going to be said in this discussion is not only going to impact me as a presenter, but it's also going to impact the person that is listening and watching. So it takes us great pleasure when such men like you find time to chat to us and just to get to hear who the person is, apart from the stuff that we already see or watch online. So that's the Game On podcast in a nutshell. So thank you so much for taking your time, Coach.
No, man, yes, absolute pleasure. I just hope I can do justice as well to your podcast.
Of course, come on. Just you being here, even if we just drop the call now, that's already done. So thank you.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, the first question that always comes to mind, and obviously because I'm in the cricket circles, I know who you are. But then my team is full of people that don't even know cricket. Some of them, my wife, for instance, she's only starting to learn about the game now. But if you had asked her 5 years ago what cricket is about, she was never going to say that she loves it. So the first question that anyone will come to is, who is that? So whenever we say we've got Geoffrey Toyana and everyone was so excited, I was so excited that we finally got this interview. And then there is our graphic designer saying, who is Jeff? So in your own words, not what we see online, not what we see on the internet, who is Geoffrey Toyana?
Yeah, like this might like take time. Yeah, Jeff Toyana, I mean, is a Soweto born person, son of a former cricket player, like in the dark days of apartheid. My dad played for South African Black 11 in the 70s and early 80s. Then I was born in the 70s, and yeah, so like Soweto boy, and then my father had like 6 sons, and I'm the fifth, like of the 6 sons. My dad, I mean, growing up, I mean, he tried to get my brothers to play the game, like that's including me. But as a Soweto boy, I mean, growing up playing football, in the streets, like that was my passion. Like I really thought I was gonna be a professional soccer player. So like my brothers and I mean, like never seemed to follow like the dreams, like of my father to like at least like have one of his sons, to play the game. I mean, like the six of us, and my older brothers were not interested in the game. And then I was not interested as well. I mean, growing up in Orlando East, like Orlando Stadium, like just around the corner. I can remember when I was still young, I mean, like going to Orlando Stadium to watch games of Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs and seeing the people there, like the passion of what sports did, during those like dark days. And then, yes, I mean, I think I was 12 or 13 when I started to fall in with the wrong crowds, like in the township where I grew up, started playing dice and started smoking when I was, quite young. And my dad picked this up. I mean, because my brothers, like got into trouble because like they were older than me, like they ended up in prison. And that's something that didn't sit well with my dad, So he forced me basically into the game because he gave me like an ultimatum of either staying in his house or playing cricket. So like as a 12, 13-year old, I mean, like I didn't have a choice at the time. And I remember in 1986, Dr. Ali Baha, brought Baker's mini cricket at the time, like at Elka Stadium. And my dad drove me there personally. Yes, I went to Elka Stadium to start up with mini cricket, like only to find out that I was one of like the many kids also like who had the talent, and the coaches seemed to like me, like the way I played. I mean, I think cricket was in my genes. Like that goes back, I mean, to people saying like that black cricket started in the 80s, which is false. Like my dad played in the Eastern Cape where, like he was born, like in the 50s and the 60s when he was growing up. So the cricket comes a long way, from the black, communities. And yeah, so I started in 86 and yes, I enjoyed the game. Tough in the 80s, like late 80s, early 90s where the people, I mean, will see you like with the big cricket bag and think that you were, hiding AK-47s in the bag. I mean, I can remember many times going to the taxi rank, police stopping me, thinking that I've got something dangerous in my bag, and then for them to open it up and see that it's cricket equipment and to get encouragement as well, like from the white police at the time, that, yeah, like it's a great sport. You must, work hard and be better at the game. Like that gave me something to push for. So yes, I played, I enjoyed the game, I made many friends in the game. And then I got fortunate as well. In 93, 94, I played in the Transvaal schools at the time, which is the Kaya Majola week these days. I think I was the first Black African players since Unity to play like for Transvaal schools at that time. So yeah, the talent was there. I mean, yes, I kept going. And then in 95, I was invited to go to Lords, like in the UK, like my first time I went overseas. I mean, yes, I had passed like my matric well, and then I went to study a BCom, like at RAW. Like those days, I mean, like the lectures were like in Afrikaans, and I found it difficult to cope. So like that's why when the opportunity to go to Lords, I mean, like the home of cricket, when it like presented itself, like I took that plunge to go to England for 6 months. I mean, to try get better at this game and hope that when I come back, I can be a professional cricket player. So that was my dreams because I could see at the time because my dad had moved on to coach in Palabura. So times were tough at home. I mean, with so many kids at home and like not enough to go around. So my dad like went to coach in Palabura, where he coached like the likes of Dale Steyn, like the likes of Mandla Mashimbi, like the likes of Eddie Balati. So I felt at the time that he's leaving me at home to fend for myself, and he's gone over to coach in Palabora. So like I felt quite sad at the time, like not understanding why he had left because things were tough. And there were times when maybe like I had to go to the Wanderers, like ask for transport money from my mother, who didn't work at the time, and like it was difficult for her to, like knock at the neighbors' doors to ask for that 20 rand, or like to take me to the Wanderers to like fulfill my dreams. But she was under pressure as well because it was either she gives me the petrol, the transport money, or like she buys bread for my siblings. So like some days I'll go to the Wanderers, some other days I can't go because I don't have money to go. And to take like 3 taxis as well to go to the Wanderers, with a big bag was always tough. I think that's something that got me to be strong, as a person, and pushed me. I mean, tough, like the circumstances I grew up under, but I couldn't make that as an excuse. I mean, I had to make sure that I become successful. Like mainly like for my mom, the like sacrifices that she made for me and the debt like that she got into, at the time. And yeah, just to go back, I mean, I went to England, I played, I came back. I was offered my first contract for like a professional team at the Wanderers. Like at the time, it was called like a Transvaal Cricket, or like like these days, it's called the Lions these days because the names changed through like the unification of sport. So yes, I got my contract, and yeah, the things got better. At home. I mean, I could always go back and try help my brothers and sisters at home and help my mom. I mean, who made so many sacrifices for me. And yes, I played professional cricket, like for Gauteng, and then after Gauteng, I moved to Easterns in Benoni, where I'm currently coaching. I went there as a player first, and then when franchise cricket came, I was one of the lucky few to get a contract at the Titans. So I've played for Gauteng, I've played for Easterns, and then I played for Titans. And coincidentally, like those 3 teams, I've also coached. Like I've coached the Lions, I've coached the Titans, and I'm back here with Easterns, coaching. And yeah, basically like that's Jeff in a nutshell. Then I retired in 2008. I retired and took up coaching. I've been part of that SA under 19 like setup. I went to the World Cup as well in 2010 with the under 19s. Like that was the group of Dom Hendricks, like that group of Dale Deep, Ackerman, who plays for the Dutch now. So like that was the 2010 group. And then the 2012 group, I mean, was the Quentin de Cox and all those guys. So yes, I was part of that SA under 19 setup, but my coaching career started here at Easterns in 2008. And then I left Easterns in 2010 to take up an opportunity at the Lions. At the time, I came in as assistant coach to Dave Noseworthy. That was in 2011. And then 2012, I took over the reins as the first Black African coach at the Lions. That was in 2012. A job that I fell into by mistake, if I'm being honest. A job at the time I felt I was not ready for, because I've just played with the guys who were sitting in that change room. The likes of Alviro Peterson was my teammate at the Titans. Like Neil McKenzie was my teammate at the Lions and the Titans. And guys like Xander de Bruin, Tammy Tsolekile, and all those guys who were my teammates. And like here I was now, like given an opportunity to be coach, like of a big franchise like the Lions. Yes, I felt at the time I was not ready, but the board at the Lions, like that time, took a chance with me. I mean, like making history and being given that chance. I mean, quite fortunate as well at the time that when I took over the Lions, I mean, it was 7 years of drought, basically. Like there was no trophy at the Lions for 7 years. So, yeah, so I guess I was quite lucky to take the job at the right time. And yeah, I mean, went to the Lions. And coincidentally as well, when I was announced as the first Black African, I think an hour after the announcement was made, like my mom passed on. Like she had a heart attack. You know, to think now of all the sacrifices she made and the love I had for her as well. And then when I get the biggest job, like in South African cricket, she like passes away. I mean, on the same day. I don't know, through happiness or through maybe like her job was done. And yeah, like that's something that hit me hard. But I took on the job. I mean, my first year, like we won trophies at the Lions, like the drought ended. And yeah, then we set up structures, to make what Lions is today. I mean, like there was, a like mentality change in how things like were done and also like how things changed. I mean, there was a pathway for coaches now. There was big responsibility for me as well as the first Black African coach to make sure that I become a success. I mean, for those that are coming after me, so like that was what was important for me, because me failing, like I'm not just failing myself, I'm failing like the whole, generation of the young and upcoming like Black African coaches. I mean, getting that job as well, I mean, took me back as well to my upbringing to think that no matter where you come from, like if you work hard enough, like things can work in your favor sometimes. Like not us sitting there and having that victim mentality, where like that mentality doesn't make you grow as a person. Taking responsibility and making sure that you're paving the way, for coaches that are coming at Lions cricket. Like there was a pipeline of coaches. I mean, after me, like it was Enoch Nkwe, who took over after me, and then after Enoch Nkwe, it was Wandile Gwavu, like that took over from me. And then in between there as well, like there was like Sandile Masengemi as well. He was part of the structures there of the growth of coaches. Yes, we've all gone into different spheres, but the point of the matter is that just paving the way for like for people to come after you. I think it's something that's important.
Amazing, Coach. But I want to, you know what? You just written the whole book. I don't even know where else to go from here.
I know. So like that's why I said to cover everything.
Amazing stuff. But I want to come back to a point that I think one may miss. You said you then got an opportunity to go to England, to go to Lords. There is 3 points there that I want to touch on. First one is, this is a boy that is coming from Soweto, and for lack of a better word, you've never been on a plane, right? And Jeff is going to be on a plane. The whole entire nation or the whole entire community in Soweto knows that the boy by the corner there is going to England. What's going through your mind? The first point is, what's going through your mind leading to the plane tickets, the passport, everything? What's going through Jeff's mind when that is going on? That's one. And two, it's everyone's dream to be at Lords. What's going through Jeff's mind when he lands at Heathrow and saying you're getting into a taxi, you are headed to Lords? Three, what's going through Jeff's mind when he gets there and you've got a whole bunch of English folks and you're going to play cricket with them or against them, whatever the case may be. And this is different traditions, different kind of people, different weather and everything. Take me through Jeff mentally through the whole spheres.
Yeah, I mean, jeepers. Like, that was my first flight, going to England. I mean, I was shocked, to be honest, when Dr. Ali Baha at the time called me. Jeff, we have selected you through like all your performances here in South Africa. We've selected you to take you to England. You're gonna be at Lord's. And as a young kid, I mean, I didn't even know like where Lord's was, because I'm a township kid. I don't
Yeah,
know that Lord's is the Lord's.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm a township kid, and they said England. I mean, that's all I heard, that it's England. So I said, no, I'm in. And then is my dad and Dr. Ali Baha like made up ways to get me a passport. I didn't know that you needed a passport because, like coming from the township at the
Yeah,
time, like 90s, like you are closed down from the whole world. You don't know what's going on.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
know what's happening.
yeah.
And then you've got issues as well in the townships of those angry older guys. I mean, seeing you playing cricket, they still have that mentality that you are
What
playing
what
a like
what meant
white man
sport?
sport.
Mm.
Like you're a sellout, you are this, you are that. So we are going to England. I mean, like I learned more about Lord when I got there. Actually, just getting on a plane. Like I asked, some of my friends that I played with at the time, and yes, I played with Neil Pickett a lot, and I grew up with him. And then because he's been overseas, he's been everywhere. He told me that on your first flight, like you must make sure that you bring your scarftin, bring your, bring your stamp or your pap and, take it on the plane. And then when they offer you food there, don't take the food because you have to pay for the. So just bring your own scarf in there, sit on the plane, things like that. And yes, I got on my first plane. Also, it was quite amazing that, 12 hours, in the air, it's something that I never, like expected. But to sit on the plane for 12 hours to see what happens in the air, I mean, you can move around there, you can stretch your legs, you can do those things. So it was something new for me, and it's something I took in. I took in nicely. But the most interesting thing about my time at Lords as well was that like the West Indies were touring, England as well that year, and then we got to spend time, like with my heroes at the time. Like Brian Lara was still young. I mean, Ketley Ambrose was in that squad. Like Courtney Walsh was in that squad. Or Carl Hooper, like the legends of the West Indies. So like our job as the Lord's ground staff or like as like MCC, like young cricketers at the time, like is to bowl to those guys in the nets, like the test side of England and the test side of the, like of the West Indies, where like we spend so much time with them at Lords, and then we bowl to them, and like we help them around with the small things that like they might require, and spending time. I mean, with a guy like Brian Lara at the time, him telling me the history, of Lords. I mean, how big like a stadium Lords is. I'm like, this is the home of cricket. Then I took in, I mean, to see the test matches being played there. Then I started to get an understanding that Lords is Lords. I mean, everybody wants to play a test match at Lords. Everybody wants to be at Lords, and to think at the time, I took it for granted that I played about what 12, 13 games, at Lords. And I still remember like my first game at Lords there, because the change rooms are, like on top. And then then you have to go down the stairs, like to go bed. And then then I got lost, like going to bed, got lost on the stairs. I didn't know which floor, I had to get out, and then I had to be, like first, like from the bottom, but before like I was timed out, like I had to be first to go take it into the right direction, to go to that, stadium. I mean, the biggest thing as well, the difference I think is how the people love the game. I mean, people love the game. People will sit there the whole day, like and score the game. Like there's a like big scoreboard there, but like those old timers, will come and just sit there the whole day, like score the game, score every run. And, like that's when you add cricket is it's a big game. I mean, the people love this game. There's passion for the game. Like that's why when you see, India, and then also just to jump over, also in 2012, like with the Lions, I mean, I got an opportunity to go to the Champions League in India, to like experience that country as well, where like the level of poverty, like is worse than in South Africa. People have nothing there. But the big difference as well is that in India, like there's like the super rich and the very poor. So like there's no middle ground there. Like you are staying in a hotel, like five-star hotel, there's everything at the hotel. But as you leave the door to go to training or to go to a match, there's just squalor. There's people around, people begging, people, so the different cultures, like which are brought together by this game of cricket, so much. So like those experiences, but Lords, I mean, it was the highlight of my career to spend 6 months there, call, Lords my home ground for 6 months. I mean, I'm quite grateful,
That's amazing.
like for that opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's a bucket list right there, coaches. That's amazing. How did you survive the cold weather? The difference between Africa and the UK and the rain and the cold. How this is a township boy, and I'm so keen to understand.
The biggest challenge. I mean, it's really, like unbelievably cold. I mean, like we end up playing in a game with five jumpers or five jerseys. We've got five jerseys, and the local boys, are just wearing a shirt. And then you ask these people, I mean, guys, what's going on?
Are
I'm
you
freezing.
crazy?
I'm freezing. Like, this is normal for us. But also, I think it goes back to just being tough. Being tough and making sure that you go for after, like what you are looking for, and going after for like what you want. I mean, like no one said it's gonna be easy, to be successful, but you just have to. But the weather there is different. I mean, I think when I went to England, it was in April. Like at the start of their summer. Like they call it summer.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, like at the start of their summer. I think I only saw the sun, I think in July. It's always overcast. It's always gray. It's always gloomy.
Yeah.
Because also in England as well, once you get to like August, September, like the days are short. By 4 o'clock, it's dark. Yeah, but in the heart of their summer, by 10 o'clock, like there's still the sun up there,
Yeah.
So it's a different culture and different roots up it. Yeah, but I think like that's part of the lessons, like that you go through, in life.
Yeah. Coach, 84 first class cricket matches and 70 odd list A matches. You've done your hard yards. You then give an opportunity to go to Easterns. When the opportunity at Easterns came about, you were not a qualified coach. That's again taking a chance. When you got the Lions gig, you said you were not prepared. Mentally, you really were not there. That's again taking a chance. Before I get into what was going through your mind when you took the Easterns gig, how important is it to give somebody a chance? Because surely the talent was there. You've done the hard yards and everything, but you just needed someone to believe in you. How important is it to find someone that believes in you in the midst of, because there were so many other coaches that could have taken the job, or so many other players that could have taken the job, but here you are given a chance when you had nothing else to prove. You didn't have the qualifications or the paperwork that can say this is what I've achieved thus far, and boom, you get a chance. How important is that aspect in life generally?
Yeah, I think being at the right place at the right time sometimes, is quite important. But to take it back again, just a little bit, with my father, my dad, to take it back, I mean, yes, I played 84 games at the end of it, and my father moved to go coach in Palabura. To think back that my dad like never saw me play, like in a first class game. Like this was someone who forced me to like play cricket, or someone who's left me with like this game, left me, like with this thing, but like the very same person like never saw me play, like in a professional game because he was still alive in 96 because my dad passed away in 2000 and my mom passed away in 2012. So something I will never, something I would like to rewind in my life. It's just for my dad, just to come back and watch me play one game, because I'm quite grateful and thankful, like to him, to be sitting, like on this chair as well. I mean, he played a massive role, like in my life. And just to take it forward, I mean, 2008 when I retired, I had just come back from England as well, because after 96, when I went to Lords, like I got the opportunity to be signed up by club teams. I mean, like in England, every year from 96 until 2008 when I retired, every year, like I spent 6 months in England and then I spent 6 months in South Africa, because our winter and summer are different. Because when it's winter here, like when there's no cricket, so like the season starts in England. So like I played plenty of cricket like that. And in 2008, like I was contracted at the Titans, like I was still a player. And then I went to England that season. I came back and Titans like didn't have a contract for me. Like they told me so late that like they're not signing me after, averaging 80, for them that season. And to come back, then I don't have a contract. What was quite something that took me back. I mean, I was quite disappointed as well in that. But as a man, I just had to like fight through it, because at the time as well, I'd had a daughter like of my own, and then I need to make sure that I like I put food on the table for that little. And yes, I left Titans to come back to Benoni as a player, and by luck, like I got to Benoni here, like Kasim Suleiman was still the CEO. And then he said to me, like as I drove in, he said, "We've just fired our coach." Like the coach was Andre Simo. He said, "We've just fired the guy, and we'd like you to be player coach of Eastons at the time." I mean, I'm like, player coach in cricket. I'm like, I've never heard of that. I mean, yes, I know in soccer or football, like there's a player coach role like that comes into play. But when it came to cricket, I mean, so like they were offering me a job like first day. Like I'm thinking, how am I going to feed my daughter, because I've lost my contract with Titans. Now I'm coming here, like they're offering me a job to coach. And then I looked at this part of the stairs, like Mangaliso Musehle was just coming from the under 19 setup. Like Tumelo Budiwe was, like up and coming, like batsman here. There was Petros Mufukeng, there was Ephraim Nyawo as well, who's my assistant coach now. And I said to Kez, I mean, I can't be player coach. I mean, can I just do coaching and let's see, how it goes, because I'm not qualified. I've never coached in my life. I never thought that I'd be a coach one day. So coaching happened by mistake for me. So like that's basically, how it happened. Like, and again, me saying, but being at the right place, because if I didn't come to Benoni that day, like I doubt that I would have been offered the job, because they thought I was still at the Titans plans. So yes, I mean, like right place, right time. I got here, they offered me the job, and then I took up coaching without any qualification. And for them to take a chance on me as well was something that like amazed me, which shows as well that like this diverse country that we live in, I mean, there's so many talented people around, but we look for like experience sometimes before you can look at the player or the person of what they can offer. So like I was offered without any qualification. I took the job. I did a good job for 3 years. Guys like Imran Tayer, he played for me here when I was still a young coach. I mean, David Vise, he's played in World Cups. He played for me. Mangaliso Musehle, Protea, former player. He played for me, like Hardas Felyun, Mashan Dilana. Like those were all the players that I was working with at Eastons. I mean, by chance, again, and to go to Lions and get the Lions job like that, again, by chance, So just taking chances on people, sometimes, like it can help. And also it's up to us as well as people, just to look at the potential, like of the person, like irrespective of where they come from. Like just look at the potential, and then if there's opportunity that you can grow that person, I think that's something it's like that's important. And also like that's the role I played at the Lions. When I was head coach, the coaches coming below me. I mean, guys like Enoch, guys like Wandile Gwavu, like I made Wandile my fielding coach at the time when he was still coaching under 19. Like he was working with the Lions guys. Like when there's training days, he'll come and do like a fielding, for the Lions. Like as a young coach as he was. I think it's important because sometimes we get jealous as people. Like we want to close people down. We don't want this person to go past me, or we're just closing gaps. I mean, I think that's something, wrong, because our talent will like stay here. So like if you give back, like you are like empowering, somebody else. Yeah, but because if you die, because if I die today, all my talent will live with me.
Sure.
Like if I didn't help anyone, then then I will feel bad. So like that's how, like I like to do things, to make sure that the coaches that are coming, we keep them close, and we make sure that we can give them something to like look forward to. And it's what I'm doing here as well at Eastons. Like while I'm the head coach, I mean, I make sure that the under 16 coach, under 15 coach, I mean, if there's an opportunity for them to be with my main team, like I invite them to come, do some work with our guys, and just look, I mean, just to fast track like their development. I think it's something that's important.
Yes, amazing, Coach. Now moving on, how important is it? Because from here on, you mentioned Mangalisum said, Ephraim Nyao, all these gents, they are so active with you on social media, and you can see that's how you've kept the contact. How important are those contacts? Because you've worked with so many people, but then in the many names that you've worked with, the many big players that you've worked with, which player stands out for you the most, and be it because of their work ethic or overall how they are, which one player can you say stands out, and that's been the reason why you've kept contact with all the players that have been under? And I know it's going to put you on the spot, because if you then say Mangi, if you say Mangi, then Ephraim is going to say, yeah. If you say Ephraim, Colin is going to say, yeah. So
Exactly. No, I mean it's a tough question. I mean, like to respond to, fairly, because maybe I will be, closing gaps, like for someone else. I mean, yes, I've worked with many, many cricketers and many players. I mean, I think coaching as well. It's important that you coach people, like you don't coach players, because at the end of the day, like they're people first. Like we are people first before like we are coaches, or we are people first before, like we are players. I mean, like Mangi, yes, he's my son. I mean, Quentin de Kock, like people say like he's my son. I mean, Kagiso Rabada, people say, he's my son. I think like for me, I mean, my biggest thing about coaching is that, it's not about the number of trophies you win. it's just changing someone's life. I think that's the main important thing for me, as a coach, just changing someone's life and making sure that you've got like long life, like memories and like long life friendships. Like when I'm old, when I'm 60, 70 years old, like if a kid comes to me and say, think you came and changed my life, I really think that my job will be done. There's so many players I've worked with, and like there's so many that I was close to and still close to. I mean, like when young kids that you coach when they're 16, and then now like they're inviting you to their weddings. Kids are getting married now, like they've got babies now. I think that's why we live this life. You know what I mean? You care for the people like that you work with. I think that's what drives me. I mean, like not the accolades, the trophies, or how many like players you produce, like for the Proteas. I mean, like that's not about me, and like that's why, like that's not the reason why I coach. I mean, like the reason I coach is to change, like someone's life. I really, really think that like that's important.
And you're doing that. You're changing people's lives on the field. You're changing people's lives with the comedian posts on Facebook and Twitter. You kill us, coach.
No, like there's two different people there. Jeff on social media and the Jeff you can meet, are two different people. Because as a person, I mean, I'm quite shy, like I'm reserved. I just try to make fun out of the tough times that we go through as people. Like life is tough as it is. So like we can't be serious all the time. I mean, we have to bring something else that can make us, smile. So I tend to do that like through like my social media, account, even though like I catch abuse, like on social media, because yes, I'm a big fan of Mamelodi Sundowns. And I'm a big fan of Liverpool as well. So people give me abuse.
I'm so disappointed in you, coach. You find other teams, man. Anyway, it is what it is.
So like if we can, it is what it is. I mean, like if we can have banter as well around that, I think it's something that's like that's good. I mean, just to take things like off our heads and make sure that we are still smiling, like through the tough times, and we're still, trying to make a change, like wherever we go.
Yeah. Coach, we did a poll on our social media, and they've got a few questions that guys want to know about your career. If that's okay, we're gonna jump into those questions. And
that's okay.
Yeah, the first question is when you moved from Lions as head coach.
That's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So the first question is, when you moved from Lions as head coach, when you moved from Lions head coach cricket to Titans assistant coach, did you feel that was a demotion?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like that was the toughest period of my life. Like to move from the Lions, I mean, like that was my time. Like at the Lions, I'd done 7 years as a head coach. Like in the lifespan of a coach, at professional level, is maybe 4 years. 4 years, and then you move on. But I stayed 7 years at Lions, but mainly because, as well, of that match fixing scandal. Like which rocked like Lions cricket with like 6 players being involved as well, and taking that match fixing scandal. So like my role at the time was to make sure that I build another like Lions team, with guys like Vian Mulder, who was still doing matric at Saints. Yeah. I mean, he made his debut, under me. So it was quite important that I build another team, So like that's why I stayed there for so many years. I didn't want to run away like a coward. After my time was done, like I had to make sure that I stay there, build another team, and make sure that Lions cricket, at the time goes on, for bigger and better things as it is now. I mean, You know, like, then if I go back again, you know, like when I took over the Lions, I mean, like there was 7 years, you know, like without a trophy there. You know, and by the time I left, I mean, I think we were producing Protea players. Like there was trophies there being won, and you know, like and then like Lions cricket was taken seriously. And then during that time as well of match fixing, I did apply for the Protea, you know, like Protea job. I mean, like I was the favorite as well to take over the job, and like that match fixing hit. I mean, which you know, like rocked, you know, like the cricketing world. And as the head coach at the time, you know, like with these things happening under my watch, you know, like that's something that really, really, you know, like rocked me, and you know, like it was tough. You know, it was tough times because like I was investigated as well, you know, like as the head coach of the team. And then yes, I stayed an extra 2 years at the Lions, and just to build the team. And then I stayed home as well for like 5 months without a job. You know, from being, you know, like head coach of Lions to being the favorite of like for the Protea job, and to sit at home for 5 months without a job was really, really something that rocked me. Took me, I mean, yeah, that took me close to depression, if I might be honest, because I'm sitting at home there, like nearly the coach of Proteas. Then here am I sitting at home, like no job, like for 5 months. And then I sat back and asked myself if this was somebody else or someone else, like not to sound entitled or whatever the case is, but if this was someone else, I mean, let's say it's a white coach or whatever the case is. So like, can they sit at home for 5 months without a job? You know, and then yes, and then like Jack Fall, you know, after those 5 months, because I live in Centurion as well, and then the Jack Fall gave me a call and said like there might be a job opportunity at Northerns at the time. I mean, you know, like I applied for that Northerns job through the advice of Jack Fall, and then yeah, then I got like that like job as Northerns, you know, head coach. You know, and then Boucher was still Titans coach at the time, and then Mandla was assistant coach. And then when the change of structure came in, then I had to leave like the Northern's job because Boucher was taken by the Proteas. And yeah, then Mandla was the head coach of Titans, and then Jack said, you know, like I can spend 2 years like just to help Mandla, you know, because he's starting up as a head coach. I said, no, that's fine. And then like that's how, you know, like I ended up as being assistant coach of the Titans. Yes, you might see it as a demotion, but like this is someone who was jobless for 5 months. You know, like I had to make sure that I get myself back in. And yes, I got in through being assistant coach, you know, at the Titans. And also, to be honest, I mean, I ended up staying there for 4 years, you know, as assistant coach, and I needed another challenge. And like that's why, you know, I ended up here at like Eastern's Cricket. Yeah, but because I want to be a head coach, I mean, you know, like I want the pressure, you know, like of a head coach role. Yeah.
For someone with the qualifications like you and everything that you achieved, it strikes me as such a selfless move to then report to someone else when you yourself are qualified to be a head coach. I mean, you're coming back from the Lions, 7 years. You've been there, done that. To come in and then say, yeah, I will serve under someone else. That's kudos to you for being selfless and serving the game regardless of what position you are in. So from me to you, well done on that, coach. I really appreciate your work, actually.
No, thank you, man. Thank you for that. But for me, I mean, like as a cricket coach, I mean, I think the biggest thing, I think we must realize that we are here to serve the game. You know, like this is about the game of cricket.
Yeah.
And I can go now, you know, like I can coach an under-8, you know, school team. I mean, like that's the passion that I have, you know, like about coaching. I mean, it's not a matter of me, you know, coaching at the top. I mean, I can even go coach, you know, like a school team. I mean, like that's the passion that I have about the game, and also like not having an ego. I think that's something that's important as well. But the key thing for me as well is that as long as you are, you know, like still relevant and still adding value, you know, I think that's something that's important.
Awesome. The next question, Coach, is what is the most significant moment of your career as a coach or as a player? What is the one thing that you can still you look up to right now and you appreciate that was probably that was your turning point, or that was what's your most significant?
Yeah, like my most significant, I think, was my first year at the Lions, 2012. I mean, us like being given no hope, and to end up, playing in the Champions League final at the Wanderers. I mean, 35,000 people. Like that was the first time that I've seen like the bull ring as the Wanderers is known. I mean, full, 35,000 people, all dressed in red, like to come support the Lions. I mean, like the goosebumps I still have when I think about that moment. I'm like, that's the highlight of my cricketing career. I mean, to, to just get on the dugout and see like the people, I mean, they're coming in to support, like the Lions. I mean, like that was really, really a like special thing for me. Like thinking back about it now, we like nearly, achieved like something special. Yes, we lost in the final, but like that tournament for the Lions, like that year, was really, really something special. I mean, like, you know, I can still see guys like Chris Morris, like running in at the Wanderers, bowling, like the speed of light, just to keep the people happy there. So for me, like that is my highlight of my career. Um, like not winning the trophies or producing the players for the Proteas, but like that moment for me, like a Champions League final 2012, like that's something that I will take to my grave.
Wow, wow. Coach, you've been amazing. But before I let you go, Coach, you've done it all. You've played at Lords. You've coached every successful player that you can think of. You've got good relationships with everyone. What's next for Jeff?
Yes, what's next for me? I mean, yes, I mean, I've come down to Division Two, and like I've achieved everything. I mean, in terms of trophies, Proteas, producing players for the Proteas. But the biggest thing for me, like the thing that drives me, is to take Eastern's cricket to Division One. I think like that's something like that's missing, like from my CV. Yes, we've had a good start with Easterns, but the goal is to take them to Division One. So like that's what's driving me, and like that's what like I dream about, and like that's like where like all my hard work comes from, because I believe that I owe like Eastern's cricket a lot in terms of them giving me like a job, like when I was not qualified, like to be a coach, just to give back, to them. So like I'll be like the happiest man if I can take, like Easterns to Division One.
Wow, amazing. Lastly, Coach, a wise man once said, please complete that statement. A wise man once said, something that you live by, what principle that you live by?
Yeah, I live by a simple principle. I mean, for me, my philosophy is basically, understanding, people, understanding one another, understanding like the people that you work with, like know like where people come from. Because when I was growing up as well, people didn't understand, like what I had to go through to go to a cricket stadium, coming from gang infested, Soweto, like Orlando East at the time, going past, taxi ranks and gang fights just to get to the Wanderers, and then you get to the Wanderers maybe 5 minutes late, and then the coach tells you that you're not going to make it because you have no discipline, like not them knowing where you come from and what took, for you to be there that day. Like you leave your house at 5 o'clock in the morning, like no breakfast, the different like for like white players, because like they get dropped off like by parents there, but for us it was different, where like you had to take 3 taxis, 5 o'clock in the dark and get there, but for someone to tell you that you've got no discipline, something that can break, any player. But for me, like that's what I live by, to just understand each and every player like that you work with.
Yeah. Amazing. Coach, you've been amazing. I've got one question, just one very last question.
You've been saying one question.
I know, and these questions keep on coming. That means we're gonna get you back, Coach. What kind of a coach are you?
I'm a player's coach, eh? Like I'm relaxed and there's an ex-player. Like I know, like how players feel when they're not, succeeding in what they're trying to do. We're quite relaxed. I mean, like I try to make players feel comfortable, which for me is something important because you don't want players to be tense trying to go perform in this difficult game. So like I'm quite relaxed. I mean, but like the main thing is that I try to understand where people come from.
Wow. Coach, you're amazing. You've been amazing. I really enjoyed this past hour with you. Thank you so much for your wisdom. Thank you for serving. Thank you for all that you're doing into the game and making us laugh. I know at some point I'm going to meet with you for a coffee and maybe change your mind about Liverpool and Sundowns, but yeah, well, that's a story for another day. But really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. We'll see you soon, Coach. Take care.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And there you have it, Geoff Toyana. Thank you so much, Coachy. Everyone calls him Coachy, and that's how it is in this cricketing world. We are getting sevens of the game, and Geoff is one of those sevens. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. That way, another person is going to hear about Geoff, is going to hear about all the other interviews that we've had in the past. And the whole trick is to ensure that we are growing. So as the channel is growing, you are growing in your knowledge, and we are also growing as well. If you want to sponsor the video, like I said when I started, there it is. There is information down below. We'll see you guys bright and early on Sunday 9 p.m. for the main podcast. Thursday 3 p.m. for the game on. Share. See you guys the other side. Cheers for now.